Greetings. You're listening to Rebels Remembered, featuring Caitlin DeFord and Kelsey DeFord.
Hello everyone, from our viewers from across the galaxy. I am Kelsey.
I am Caitlin.
And this is Rebels Remembered. And today we are discussing the episode of Season 2, Relics of the Old Republic. I have written down in my notes like 3 or 4 because I always get confused when the Siege of Lothal has 2 episodes. I think it's technically the 3rd episode, but you can count it as 4 if you're counting the other
one.
Premiere is 2 parts.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting that out of the way. Doesn't matter. This originally aired on October 21st, 2015. Speaking of quotes, I'm just going to throw this out here. A lot of our plot lines and trivia comes from Wikipedia and StarWars.com. So, just going to put that out there. So we're not plagiarizing or we're not quoting our sources. But, okay, so the synopsis of this episode is, while Kanan continues to struggle with trust issues, the rebels begin to form friendships with the old clones. When Agent Callus arrives, all must join together to battle the Imperials. This is originally written by Stephen Melching and directed by Bosco. Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name.
Sorry,
and
Bosco.
I don't want to butcher it. So, some trivia of this episode is that the ATTE, that the Rex and the clones are the ship that we talked about in the last episode. It says apparently there's like hash marks indicating that there's been 12 kills of Jupa inside the little ship. So that's interesting that they've killed 12 of those things. That's crazy.
That's a lot.
And I want to know how long you can eat and survive on 12 Jupas.
I mean, they're pretty big.
Like, how long would one last you? Like 6 months, 7 months, a year? Like, because it's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it depends how well you preserve it and all that stuff. Also, something Dave Filoni mentioned is that the walkers that appear in this episode are actually bigger than the ones in episode 4.
Oh, my
So
God.
I didn't know that. I was like, oh, okay, it's just a standard walker. No, they were designed to look bigger. So I guess the other one that they're in will look smaller.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that would mean it's a different model than what we see in episode 4.
Okay, I did not know that.
Or is it 5? What episode did the walkers appear in the original trilogy?
They appear in Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. Sorry, not 4. 5. Episode 5. This is also the first appearance of the 5th brother. Based on unused artwork for The Force Awakens. We get a lot of Inquisitors in, spoiler alert, in this season.
Yeah, I mean, we fought the big Grand Inquisitor in season 1, and now this one we get 2 more. We probably won't discuss it this episode, but I'm going to talk to you about want to get your thoughts on the Inquisitors as a whole, probably next episode.
Yeah, especially the next episode, because I think it's more features them, if I remember right. This episode basically starts where we left off of the last episode. So, in the last episode, Wolf had a moment, and he turned them into the...
He had a moment.
He did. He had a moment. And he turned them into the Empire, and now Callus has tracked them to the Cedo system. And
yeah.
the Phantom has been damaged from... Was it the probe droid?
The probe droid, yeah.
By the way, so many reviews of this probe droid. This probe droid is probably the best at its job in the entire Star Wars canon. I don't know of a probe droid that recorded that much information for that long of a time before it got shot. Usually it's like they see it and they shoot it down so it doesn't have time to record, or if it does, it's like very small pieces. So props to that probe droid for
Gets all the awards.
Gets all the Employee of the Month awards and everything.
They're trying to get the Phantom up and running, and this is at the beginning. They're contacting Hera, so we finally see what Hera's been up to. She's kind of been waiting on them to...
I saw some reviews that said she's like the mom waiting to pick their kids up from school.
I mean, yeah, I can see that.
Kind of trivial, but, you know, it's an important job.
Yeah. So she has kind of just been waiting on their rendezvous. I think they warned her at the end of the last episode that the Empire's on their way. You know, be prepared, be ready. And of course she says, well, there's nobody up here now. And of course, as soon as she says that, one big Star Destroyer appears in hyperspace.
So she has to power everything down, basically, in the Ghost.
But also, she's also still working on fixing the hyperdrive that went out.
Chopper just broke for no reason. I love you, Chopper, but I don't know what your thoughts were in this episode or the one before that. It was kind of like the plot needs the ship to be down, so it's like we'll have Chopper mess something up, you know?
Yeah.
Just like a matter of convenience. So, like, she powers everything down, and I still don't know why the Empire, like, just, like, these ties just fly right past her. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, she's like, I'm gonna turn the thing off so they can't see me on their scanners. I'm like, you can't look out this window and see this ship that's been marked as, like, the rebel ship. It's not like the Ghost is so well known now that, I don't know, to me it's just kind of hard for me to believe they would just bypass her.
Well, maybe they were farther away from her than we were thinking.
Okay. Before
Parting company, Rex gives Ezra a data chip containing a list of former Republic bases, which is what they came for in the last episode. Once again, Ezra tells Rex that the clone should join them, but Rex politely declines, saying he has seen too many battles. And then I think he says, like, our war is over. I think that's what he says. However, Gregor, and Wolf offer to stay behind in order to delay the Empire so that they can escape aboard the Phantom and rejoin the Ghost in space. While there's kind of like a humorous moment that happens where while they're discussing this, the Empire's calling them back. I think it's so funny that Wolf's the one that sent it out. He's like, why are they calling me? I didn't...
They never answer me. That's one of the things. It's like, never answer back. And I'm like, that's so sad. Like, how many times have you called them, dude?
Yeah. It's like, they should have... It's almost like they should know who you are at this point to know not to call you. And even that was like, yeah, why are they calling? I thought he was a fruitcake. But then Callus comes on screen and is like, I know you're hiding them because the probe droid caught footage of them. Like, I forgot about that darn probe droid.
It needs all the gold stars from the Empire. I do like that moment, the little exchange between Callus and Rex, though. And he says, what is it about the stormtroopers?
Rex says, I hope you bring a better class of soldier than those stormtroopers.
And then Callus is like, oh, I plan to. I have many of them. He's like, yeah, you'll need all of them. Like, I like that interaction between the two, because you have a guy that, like, Callus is so by the book, and he's approaching this veteran who will do whatever it takes, like, you know, outside of procedure and things like that.
It's almost like you have no idea who you're messing with.
Oh, as I mentioned before, a clone is not a stormtrooper. They're two completely different things.
See, I was always confused. I was like, I thought that once Order 66 happened, I thought they just moved them into stormtroopers. I didn't realize they were still separate.
I mean, that is a good question. I do wonder if maybe some clones did stick with the Empire, or did they just kind of be like Rex and the other two and just kind of retire?
Retire their service. Sitting there going, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
So we do have this little moment where the TIE fighters, I think, is the part where they're like shooting them down, right? Mm-hmm. There's a moment where the Ghost crew and the clones are again working together to delay the Empire. You know, I think at this point, Kanan's kind of the one, okay, we've done our job, let's go, let's get ready to go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, a sandstorm appears, which delays them from leaving. And then after the TIE fighters or whatever, that's when they send in the big, huge, humongous walkers.
Yeah, we do have a little moment where Rex and is it Gregor or Wolf? I think it's Gregor talking about, how's that thing even standing up? It only has 2 legs. Ours has 4. It's not computing, which is again seeing new technology that they haven't seen yet.
Yeah, Agent Callus deploys 3 AT-AT, or however you people say it, AT-AT walkers to destroy the clones and rebels. Rex has the idea of fleeing into the sandstorm, with Kanan and Ezra using their force powers to guide the walker. The Imperials will be blinded, but the rebels won't. Kanan, despite his mistrust of the clones, agrees to go along with the plan. So, what's interesting about this episode is you get, for someone like me who hasn't seen Clone Wars, this is a moment for me, and other people that have not seen it, to see how the clones and Jedi work together.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Also, we get to see more of Kanan and Ezra using the Force in a way that I don't think we've seen before up to this point, as far as like not trusting your senses, and I don't want to pull Obi-Wan, but your eyes can deceive you, don't trust them kind of thing.
And I loved that moment because for me it was going back to, like you said, A New Hope, where the iconic scene that everybody knows with Luke where he destroys the Death Star by not looking at his targeting computer.
And I think they played homage to that when Rex gives Ezra his helmet, which I love that part. And then he goes out in the sandstorm, and you've got Kanan inside kind of directing him, and then you got Ezra on the outside with Sabine trying to fire at one of these walkers, which Sabine found out they have a soft spot in their neck. I don't know how she figured that out, but I guess she's just that good about...
Yeah, I do know there's a moment where she says the armor does have one weak point, the neck, but how she... maybe she's just that good. I don't know.
Some kind of... Because she's been in the Imperial Academy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's probably some knowledge that she has. I don't know. Yeah, so you've got Ezra with the helmet on, and he's like trying to look at the sensor, which brought me back to... You turn off your targeting computer kind of thing. Which is, I really like that.
He's like, I can't see it on the screen, you know, and Kanan is like, you're not going to see it, doesn't matter, you're not going to see it with your eyes. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
Don't miss. No pressure.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, they're in a sandstorm. I'm going to put this away before I poke out my eye. They're in a sandstorm, and... If you fire and don't hit anything, like you've just given away where you are, and you've got, what is it, 4 walkers?
3 of them.
3 walkers, like, around you.
And I can't remember who says that, I can't remember if it's Rex or Sabine that warns them. Oh, I think it's Sabine that's like, once we fire, they know where we're at. So that's, yeah.
It's almost like, oh, we know where you're at, let's just crush you. Like, that, technically you don't have to fire at them, because those walkers are so big.
Mm-hmm. So Ezra does take his shot. And he manages to hit one of them in the neck, destroying it, allowing the clone's walker to flee the remaining 2. Because it's almost like, okay, that one blow it up, but we have to keep moving, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and they had to drop, much to Gregor's chagrin, they had to drop the Jupa, the big bongo, the catch. Which, I was thinking... why didn't you drop that sooner? I feel like they were kind of hanging on to it, and then until they were, Rex told them, oh, we gotta let it go.
I know, and every time I see that part, I'm like, well, they can just go back for it. Like, no, wait, no, it's a pretty big desert planet. Good luck finding it, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, back to serious things. Admiral Constantine gets a transmission from Darth Vader, ordering him to rendezvous with his shuttle in space. Even though Constantine first protests that it will compromise Callus's mission, but orders are clear and he departs. That's also funny to me because he's like, I'm not doing that kind of thing until we hear who it is. It's like, oh no, I should probably...
It's like, no, these are Vader's orders. Oh. Yeah, we better do what he says. Mm-hmm. And then we cut back to Hera with Chopper. And she I think it's so cute. She reactivated him at low power.
Yeah.
And she's still wanting him to help her fix the drive. But fortunately, while she's with Chopper, they see it depart. And she tells him to keep working on the repairs. And I think he like beeps at her or whatever, and she's like,
he's being himself. He's being Chopper.
Yeah, and she's like, what's her response? Like, you wouldn't be doing it any slower than you normally do.
Yeah.
Like, just shut up and help me.
Yeah.
After exiting the sandstorm, the Spectres prepare to depart on the Phantom to rejoin the Ghost in space. Despite Ezra's willingness to stay and fight, Rex commands Ezra to leave, as the clones prepare to hold off Callus and his 2 remaining walkers. This part was kind of sad, I feel like.
Yeah. Especially when they're about to basically leave the clones there, and then Rex says, this is what we were born with, this is what we were made for. Mm-hmm. And I think even Ezra knows, like, yeah, you're gonna fight till you can't no more, which is sad.
There was a moment where they got into the Phantom, they're leaving, and I think Ezra tells Kanan, like, you know them. They're not gonna give up. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, I don't want to say he's guilt tripping Kanan, but it's like, you know what this outcome's gonna be. They're gonna keep going until they can't, like you said.
Yeah. I think you kind of see that in Kanan too in the animation. Right before they get on the shuttle, and Ezra turns, and Kanan kind of looks at him, and you're like, when I watched it, I was like, is he having second thoughts, or is he just being, not wanting to deal with the clones anymore and just kind of wants to get away until later we figure out. So I don't know in that moment he was thinking, I need to help, or I need to get away. And it was only after getting away that he was like, I need to go help.
Yeah, it did.
Really, if that makes sense.
He had to take a moment and think about it.
Yeah, I think so.
So then we have this moment where you really get to see Gregor, Wolf, and Rex in action taking on this walker with their little junker, essentially.
Yeah. I think even Dave Filoni said if he could have done, not that I would advise this, he said if he could have done a 3-minute episode just between those two things going at each other, he probably would have done it. It was like, I believe you.
So yeah, you get to see how they work and how they, like I think I said this last episode, like, right into battle mode.
Yeah.
It's almost like second nature. They just jump right into it.
Yeah.
But that's pretty brave to take on that big of a walker with just...
Like I said, we can bleep this out, but like, around and find out kind of thing. Like Callus doesn't know what he's dealing with, and it's pretty clear when it's always kind of funny to me. It's like I'm getting ahead of myself. When they decide to ram the walker with the little bitty thing, and he's like, they've lost their mind. What's wrong with these people? And I'm like, we told you. They warned you.
I mean, they're willing to go the distance. They're willing to go that extra mile to, yeah.
Yeah, because I think for Callus, like, again, from an Imperial perspective, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
What makes sense would be, we surrender, you've got 2 big walkers, we're little bitty, we give up.
No, that
would be logical. Up. It's not logical to, like, take your little ship and ram at a walker that's, like, 3 times your size.
It's almost like they know that they're no match for it, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like...
YOLO.
There's a part where I love it so much where, something happens to Rex's, I think, is he in, like, the cannon part or something? Or the gunner part? I don't know what happens to the gunner, but anyway, there's a moment where he jumps out and, like, stands on top of it and it's like, come on! Basically, like, really, dude? Like, that is just so, like, I didn't know Rex that well. For that moment, made me fall in love with him. I was like, wow, you're gonna take on a walker, just you, no weapons, you know?
And plus, like, even the way that's animated, like, you can, like, because it's, like, kind of like the shot is angled from, like, down here, and you have Rex, and you have, like, kind of looking up, like, you can see how massive this thing is compared to, like, him.
But then there's a shift in the animation where he shifts to kind of solemn, like he shuts his eyes, like,
yeah,
this is how I'm gonna go out. I think he has that conversation with Wolf and Gregor, like, if we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out fighting.
Yeah.
Eventually, Ezra does convince Kanan and Sabine and Zeb to turn back and help them, pointing out that the old soldiers are willing to fight to the death. And I think Kanan has this moment where he's like, I have my feelings about clones, but I can't let those men die.
Yeah, which is, to me, is very big of Kanan to, like, value. Again, maybe it's a Jedi thing. Maybe it's just being a nice human person. Human being is to, like, preserve life. Doesn't matter if you agree with them or like them, you know, it's
and plus,
still...
I think they proved to Kanan they were willing to let them escape.
Yeah.
They were putting their lives on the line to protect them. Oh, yeah, there's this really sweet moment where the Phantom flies back in, and Kanan, Ezra, and Zeb fall down from it and land on one of the walkers, and they're, like, using a lightsaber to cut into it. Like, I just love that shot so much.
Yeah, I do too.
So now, Kanan, Ezra, and Zeb are in one of the walkers. And they turn its weapons on Callus. With his walker no longer trapped under the tanker's legs, Rex is able to destroy Callus's walker with a critical hit. Callus and his remaining men flee the battle on a speeder, while the clones salute Ezra and Kanan. So, what I love about this too is Callus is like, "Where's Constantine with my help?
Yeah, where's my air
support?" He has no idea that he's already left his butt. And then we have this sweet moment where that really cool shot where they land and they're, using their lightsabers or whatever. Rex has this moment where it's like just like the old days.
Yeah, it was really sweet. And also, like, you see them salute Kanan and Ezra. And I like how Kanan doesn't salute back. He just kind of nods, like, acknowledges them, which is really sweet. I will say, we gotta put it in here. When Callus leaves on that speeder... When Callus leaves on that speeder with the guy, it's him and another guy on a speeder.
Yeah.
There's one guy that is running after them. And the way he runs, he jogs, looks back, and then flails his arms as he's, like, running. Like you're never gonna catch that speeder, dude. I guess Callus has left you, too. Like, he doesn't care. Like,
the speeder can only fit 2.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
You're gonna have to walk.
Or run. And, like, he was, like, in terror.
Yeah.
He's running.
So after that, we've got Constantine reading a shuttle that landed in his Star Destroyer's hangar. Instead of Vader, this is another Inquisitor. And Constantine is just up in arms. He says, this was a waste of time, this was a diversion, and we've compromised Callus, because basically now I gotta go back and get him. I don't know if he's accomplished his mission, because I had to come here, kind of thing. And we find out it's the 5th brother, who's another Inquisitor, who claims that, well, first, he's indifferent to what Constantine just said. He doesn't care. And then he says he's going to succeed where Callus and Constantine had failed. Now, there are many people who have said that.
Lots of people.
Lots of people that have said that. So, it's sort of like for the viewer to say, I don't know. What do you got?
Yeah, what are you going to pull?
Yeah. So then after that, we return to the Rebel fleet. The Spectres and Rex reunite with Ahsoka. Which is really sweet for Clone Wars fans. Rex comments that Ahsoka has grown old. She says, I had to have it sometime. And then he says, I'm glad you're alive, which is kind of sweet, because she's been sending him transmissions, but he hasn't gotten them, because Wolf had to be Wolf and not, answer them or show him. So for him, it's probably validating to know that she's okay and she's alive. And then they embrace, and then everyone has a happy time and walks off together off screen.
But we are left with a moment where I have to vouch for my man Kanan, because I love him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She tells him, thank you for trusting him. And I feel like as Kanan, I'd be like, I didn't really. And he's like, it wasn't easy. It's still not. So we know going forward, this is still something he's going to have to not necessarily get over, but work on.
Yeah, that's something that we'll see. I said about the last episode, I like that because I don't want it to seem trivial that he just suddenly is okay with helping out with their working clones.
Yeah, because what happened with the clones and the Jedi is huge for any person that went through that to deal with. Even on the clones' point of view.
Yeah. But I do think that as a viewer, not so much when I first saw this episode, but during the rewatch and other times that I've seen it, is that between him and Rex especially, I saw very similar qualities in the two of them.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
One is that they are very, I don't want to say off the wall, but like their plans are crazy. Like, putting them in the middle of a walker because that's the best chance, Him ramming the walker with the little ship that they have, the little ATE that they have. To me, it seems like they were a little bit similar in that regard. So, as a viewer, I was like hoping that maybe they could, and we're gonna get a moment in there, but or two between the two. But like, I felt like as a viewer that they could expand more on that about how, yes, he was in the military, but he's also not so much. I don't want to say by the book, but unconventional. And conventional is the word I'm looking for between the two of them. That's the similarities that I saw.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Another thing I have to mention is it's in Rebels Recon. I thought it was really sweet. When they first did the recording between Ashley Eckstein, who voices Ahsoka, and Dee Bradley Baker, who voices all the clones.
Shout out to Dee Bradley
Baker. Gregor, Wolf, and Rex, and others. Everyone else. Is that she said, and I think there's footage of Rebels Recon of this episode on StarWars.com, Ashley couldn't read it without crying.
Aww.
Like the scene between them, because she was just brought back to a long time ago when they used to record together, and I want to ask her, was that the same when they did season 7? Like, did you have to, like, okay, I gotta pull it together because it's not just one scene, it's, like, multiple scenes. And I do wonder if that's what happened throughout, Rebels.
Maybe not. Maybe this was just, like, okay, the emotionals, because it's been so long, maybe when she got to go back with Clone Wars, maybe she was like, okay, I got that out of my system,
got that out of my system, I thought that was really sweet.
My rating is 6 out of 10 again.
Mine as well.
To me, the pacing, I don't know how you felt about it. It was better to me than last episode, but also it was slower.
I thought the opposite. I guess because of the battle situations going on, there's like, the sandstorm, and then the battle between the clones and Callus. It felt like it kind of like there were parts where the pacing was a little bit slower, but
that's what I said. Like,
oh, okay,
it was better at points.
Okay,
but overall, I think it was a little bit slower than the last episode. But it might be just because the last episode was just so up and go, and this is kind of a moment where we can let's talk. You know,
yeah, maybe it's probably what it was.
And strategize.
Also, where did Wolf and Gregor go at the end?
I was gonna ask that question. Like, I love Rex, but I kind of want to know.
I don't. It didn't say. Do they go back and can they go back and hunt their fish? Do they have Juba fish? Juba? Do they have to go to another planet and retire there? Like,
yeah, I want to know what happened there.
I remember as a viewer that I remember seeing them later, but where did they go at this point?
Yeah,
they just chilling on the Phantom or with the rebellion?
Yeah, I thought that too. I'm like,
I understood why, because Rex and Ahsoka's relationship is so.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I remember watching that, and then they part, and you see, Rex and Ahsoka. I'm like, but my first question was, where'd the other two go? Like, I love you, Rex, but
where'd your friends go?
Also, I felt a little bit emotional, which is odd for me, for this episode when that moment where they bring Rex to her. And he says, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. I don't know why it got me.
Yeah.
But
she's like, I'm glad you're okay. He's like, well, I wouldn't be if it weren't for this crew right here, or whatever he says. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just seeing them, those different characters from different series interact, but also validating that the Ghost Crew is important.
Right.
Which we talked about last time. What was your first impression of the fifth brother? I know we'll see him later, but...
I think I should save my comments for next episode.
Okay.
I don't think if I go into it right now, I wasn't sure about him at all.
I wasn't either.
I was not sure. I wasn't really intimidated by him because I was just so used to Jason Isaacs as the Grand Inquisitor that when he came out, I was like, well, I'm like,
well, not only that,
we'll see, but
the poor guy, they had the whole scene up thinking we thought it was Vader.
Yeah.
And who I rock's this new dude. For you? It was kind of like, I felt bad for the dude. He didn't have time to be intimidated because going up against Vader, you're not. I'm sorry.
That's probably what it was. Yeah, but I don't know. I had my qualms about the Inquisitors in this season. I'll just say that.
Okay, so can we expect a event moment in the next episode?
Well, not necessarily an event. It's just, like, I'm not angry about it. I don't know. I feel like...
You question it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, how many of these guys are there? That was my first question. If your fifth brother, is there fourth sister? Is there, like, fourth cousin?
How many...
How many Inquisitors are there?
Inquisitors are there?
I think that, I don't know about the Inquisitors. I really don't. I think it was good to give... You have to give them a foil to go up against.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
and it can't be Vader all the time. He would kill them.
I understand their place, but at the same time, I'm like... How many are there?
Yeah. Thanks for watching. You can follow Rebels Remembered on X. You can follow us on YouTube and Spotify. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.